I think the last time we talked, I was telling you guys about how I felt defeated, powerless, pathetic, and pitiful. Which I believe every loving parent, especially fathers, because once again, I'm specifically talking to men, should feel when their children get taken from them. And if you don't feel that way, either you have some pre existing psychological damage that I am unaware of, or you have a plan that's going to work out favorably, or you're a scumbag. So we're going to assume a positive intent and say it's one of the two. I love my kids, and when they were taken from me, I did feel those exact phrases I stated earlier and at the last video: pitiful, pathetic, powerless. Because the system is crappy and it needs to be fixed. It is terrible to terrible fathers. It is terrible to good fathers. It doesn't distinguish between the two, and that is a problem. And I think in these future videos, I'm going to, toward the end of the video, whenever it comes to my mind, I'm going to offer select musical tracks or scenes from movies to better encapsulate the feelings I felt. For example, when my kids were taken from me, there is a scene in this movie called Peppermint. I think it's called Peppermint. I think Jennifer Garner's in the movie. Her family gets caught up in something. The child and the mother die. And she is suffering from psychosomatic auditory hallucinations. There's a lot of syllables in that phrase. So she would be driving and she would hear her daughter's voice speaking to her in the background, and she would turn around and she would actually picture and see her daughter talking to her, but her daughter's been dead. That's what it felt like to me. I'd be driving to work. I'd hear my kids in the background. My kids ain't there. I'm at home. Daddy, daddy. Certain things would trigger it, and they're not there. It would drive me insane. And I would lay on the living room floor for hours at a time, just looking up at the ceiling, not moving, not blinking, not eating, not showering, not using the bathroom. Absolutely powerless, pathetic, and pitiful. Just succumbing to the world around me and realizing that the world is completely indifferent to your wants and needs. It's like gazing into the abyss, man. It's like experiencing nihilism at its best. It just doesn't, nothing means nothing. It just doesn't matter. And that's a terrible mind frame to have. Us men, and humans in general, but us men, we shouldn't have that. We shouldn't. Alas, it happened to me. I even contemplated a deletion, but I would never do that because I'm too egotistical and too determined. And the closest I got to it was I was driving to Marine Corps Logistics Base Barstow. And as I was driving, I seen this train. And I was thinking about getting out of my car, running, and catching the train. And just, that's it, man. And the reason why I stopped was because I was like, I heard stories about trains getting 100 degrees and a still, or the train burning people alive. I heard about people freezing to death on trains, being shanked by a bum that's already claimed that specific cargo cart. There's a bunch of things stopped me. The thing that should have stopped me was the thought of my kids, but that didn't occur yet. That would occur later. So whilst I was being pathetic and miserable, isolating myself, which is something else that we need to talk about real quick. Isolation is dangerous. In the midst of your isolation, you alienate those that love you, that expect you to communicate with them during hard times. When you isolate yourself from potential trouble and issues, but you also isolate yourself from aid, assistance, and help. Not to mention, once real trouble happens, You've isolated and successfully alienated all those around you and no one's there to help you. Because you're by yourself in isolation. As I was laying down in a sunken state of just extraordinary negative circumstances, I thought to myself, this is it, Trinell. You lost, man. What are you going to do? And before I just gave up, something came to my mind. And you know what it was? It was ego. It was confidence. It was, Trinell, do you know who you are? I had to bleep myself because this is YouTube. You are a 2-time Iraqi combat veteran, a college graduate. You've had so many deficits that you faced, so many speed bumps, so many obstacles. You pass them, you can pass this. You want your kids? Fight for those kids. Fight. Get the hell up. Claim what's yours. They are mine. And that's exactly what I did. And we'll talk about that in the next video. I got up, took a shower, and devised a plan that would help me get my kids back. Newsflash, I got my kids back. And we're going to share that with you next.